Is the bounce over for Bitcoin and stocks and crypto? Is ETH in trouble? Have a look at this chart, right? Basically, we're seeing some major resistance here. This is what I've been warning about all this time, saying 92K to 94K. Why is it 92K to 94K? Because here is 92K, this line, and 94K is this line. Do you think the bounce is over here and we're going to turn down? So 92K, as we can see, major resistance because you've got all these bottoms and 92K and a few of these. 94K is even bigger here. We got to 93 exactly in between. Here, this line was 94K because it's the trend line that's basically carried Bitcoin. See, from when Bitcoin was 15K, 30K, and it carried Bitcoin all this time, right? All this time. With crash below, and folks tend to think that we're going to tag here, get rejected, and then go down one more time. Okay, if that happens, a lot of people are expecting 74 to 75K. And the reason why is because here, 74 to 75K. My expectations are we're probably not going to get there because everyone's expecting it. So we're probably going to front run them and bottom around 78, 79 and bounce if we do go down. But since a lot of shorts are being put on right now, so therefore I don't think the exchanges really want to go down right now. So for example, we'll have a look at this. Yesterday, as I showed you guys in my yesterday's video, this entire wall was green, which means everyone is shorting. Everyone was shorting, right? Today is basically, we can see, at least for Bitcoin, right, only two greens. Everything else is in the black. But they're not back to normal yet. They're still short. 0.01 is normal, and you can see all these are below 0.01. So we're still leaning slightly short. Usually what happens, as I said yesterday in yesterday's video, what happens is when people are shorting, then basically see we do a top and tail here, right? Small pullback, and then boom, we go up again, right? Next time we head up, we might hit this 96, 97K area and bounce again, right? For now, as long as we can see more folks are shorting, right, then the probability of a big drop is small. Then I would say a small drop and then a big move up. We could actually hit 101K here, right? It just depends on this chart. We should keep a very close eye on this chart. But the big news today is about Ethereum. I'm going to talk about Ethereum today and how some major news is happening on Ethereum. What is the news that I'm referring to on Ethereum? So one of the major treasury companies of Ethereum, SBIT or SharpLink, used to be a game company that is now turned into a treasury stock for Ethereum, just like MetaPlanet or just like MicroStrategy. It basically has the number of institutional investors holding SBIT went up from 40 to 138, almost 140. That's like a 3.5x in 1 quarter, in 3 months, right? Like imagine people like Fidelity or Robinhood or BlackRock, Vanguard, those kind of institutions. Imagine that going up 3.5x, right? In basically 3 months. What has happened to SBIT, right? They're looking for, this is according to SBIT or SharpLink itself. It says institutional capital is looking for exposure to ETH and its yield. I believe the answer is mainly its yield, because ETH as an ETF has been around for over a year now, and they didn't jump in back then. It was only 40 institutions. Now it's up to like almost 140 institutions, because I think that the key difference here is in the yield that ETH is providing. And the price of the asset does not change its underlying trajectory. The network is still scaling, whatever. Institutional positioning for where the fundamentals are pointing. And here we can see the chart of what's actually happening with with ETH. See, we've gone from 40 institutional holders to now almost 140, up 245%. What does all this mean for Ethereum and for SBIT? Okay, before I answer those questions, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Jimen use? Well, Pablo uses this exchange as non-KYC, see? That means you don't need to show any ID. So that means even the exchange can't see who you are. So that's why the exchange can't see you, the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, FBI, CIA, nobody can see you, total privacy. I made this deal with them. That is the reason why. Exclusive only on the Pablo Jimen link, right? So not just for the first time depositors and first trades. For guys who are old timers, you basically just use a new email, just use a different email and just register again and get those great first deposit and first trade bonuses because the exchange can't see who you are. That's the whole point, see? So now, for folks who are doing this, it's 20%. Deposit $100, get $20. Deposit $1,000, get $200 futures bonus. For your first trade, get 100 to 500 USDT futures bonus. And remember, just open up a new email and get this great prize. Now, limited time only, folks. This deal finishes on 5th of December. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, then the link is in the description below. But on any other platform, that's fine, such as this one. Click on my profile page, and there's my link tree or Stan link. We click on that, and it's the first deal that pops up because this is a great deal. Okay, let's get back to the markets, folks. But just remember, this deal is exclusive only on the Pablo Jimen link. So with ETH, we're looking at a similar situation. Basically, ETH is here. We've dipped just below 3,000. My target for it to start trimming was around this 3,100 area. And we can see why, because look, this top, these 4 daily tops, and this top here, right? So basically, as I said, 3,100 for some trimming and 3,200 for some trimming if we got there. Right now, if the futures, as I said, continue to be negative or continue to be green, as in this one, that means everyone's still shorting. If everyone's still shorting, then basically, I think we don't go much further and we punch above to at least 3,200K. As I said, it depends on how many people are shorting. So we need to watch the futures funding rates closely over this weekend, over Monday and Tuesday. And here is basically the situation with ETH and its institutional investor situation because of the yield. What happened is this. As we can see, right, we can see in the news report here that Ethereum and Solana ETFs are both getting the green light for staking via, the US Treasury, RS crypto fund guidance. So it has been approved, even though no new ETH ETF has launched yet with the ETH staking just yet, but it has been approved. This article came out November the 10th, which is just under 3 weeks ago. So it has been approved. And as soon as it was approved, all those funds, all those US ETFs jumped in. And what they really want is 2 things. One, it's proof of stake, like ETH and Solana, which means the yields are approved, right? And on top of that, you also get an yield of 1.8% to as high as 7%, right? From memory, yields on ETH is about 3.2%. 3.2%. You know, the right now we're talking about Wall Street funds, right? So for a hedge fund or on Wall Street, what they can get right now is if they buy a US 10-year Treasury bond, is about 4% or something. If they buy a shorter term bond, it's like 3.75% or something, right? Let me just show you guys what they're getting right now. Here it is. The US 10-year Treasury yield right now, exactly 4. Just on 4%. If they buy a 30-year bond, that's 4.665. if they start losing money, that means they have to hold it for 30 years to get their money back. This, if they start losing money, they have to hold it for 10 years to get their money back. This one, US 2-year bonds, if you get this wrong and if you start losing money, you have to hold it for 2 years to get your principal or money back, and it gives you 3.5% yield right now. But for ETH, if they bought ETH, they would get something similar, like 3.2%, 3.4%, something similar to the US 2-year yield, and they don't have to hold it for 2 years. They basically basically these ones you have to wait for your yearly coupon, right? For ETH, you don't have to wait for your yearly coupon. It's basically sent to you almost every day. Like the yield on ETH is basically from proof of work by the miners, right? By basically proving that the transaction happened. So then proof of stake. It's proof of stake in this case, but you get those rewards almost on a daily basis. So you basically don't have to wait 3 months like these U.S. Treasury bonds to get your yield, right? It may not seem much to you, but to these large hedge funds on Wall Street, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for them, and therefore they're making this switch. And it's a big deal for ETH because when that happens, we're talking like billions of dollars are coming to SBET, are coming to SharpLink, are coming to Ethereum ecosystem. So let's have a look at SBET or SharpLink. In the last few days, I've been making the video and saying getting around $9, right? Which is around here. That's a perfect entry. And now we hit what? $11. And for folks who are into stocks, that's kind of okay. It's 20% gain in the last few days. The bounce is bigger than ETH itself. The market right now is still a little bit negative right now, so that's why we're not seeing giant bounces just yet. And we can see the reason why SBET is struggling just around here is because we're already near this massive trend line. This is around this 1150 area. If we are able to pop above this 1150 area, see if we close around 1170 or $12, then basically we've beaten this massive 5 month from July. So that's like a 5 month 4 month bear market, and then we could begin the next leg up. This was my Elliott wave count. It hasn't proven accurate except after we got past this point for number 3, but I do believe 4, 5, those big wave counts are coming. So just keep that in mind. This is I do like the chart of SBET or SharpLink. This is a falling wedge. This is a massive falling wedge. I think it's basically we could dick around here and then boom, up we go. That makes a lot of sense to me. Let's have a look at the granddaddy of them all, the MicroStrategy, right? The granddaddy of all digital treasury companies, stocks. As I said, it was going to bounce off this 165 area. We did do a little bounce, but you know what? Look at this. It's very disappointing because, let me get the chart back, because it is on a down red day. Like we've had small bounce and then basically down on a big red day again. This got up to 186, which is like a 10% bounce. And we're already back down to 177. So even though Bitcoin has made a decent bounce, ETH hasn't made, MicroStrategy has not made much of a bounce. So here's Bitcoin. Let's compare it to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's here has had much more decent bounce, and yet MicroStrategy has not had much of a bounce, right? It's only a very small bounce. So what that's telling me is that the investors, traders are still worried about MicroStrategy being delisted from MSCI. I've spoken about this before. MSCI is this major index, the company that publishes a number of major indexes, such as MSCI America, MSCI North America, MSCI Developed World, MSCI Small Companies, MSCI Developing World, and MicroStrategy is on like 2 or 3 of those indexes, and it's about to be delisted or kicked off one of them. And I think we get a decision around December the 15th. So the market is not sure about a big bounce right now. The market is still trying to sell down MicroStrategy because he thinks that delisting is coming. But look, overall, folks, I remain bullish and positive because of 2 factors, what I call the twin drivers over the next 6 to 12 months. The first one is basically we have a new Federal Reserve chairman who's very dovish, means he's going to cut rates, he's going to do QE, he's a degen. And the other one is that we have a new engine, new locomotive, new driver for the AI narrative. It's not going to be NVIDIA anymore. It's going to be Google, right? We've gone from the guys who sell the shovels in the gold rush to guys who can actually find the gold. So basically, the market is going to pivot from pushing NVIDIA to pushing Google as the leader of the AI narrative. So we have, I'll say it one more last time, we have the new driver for the AI narrative, and we'll have a new Federal Reserve chairman who's going to cut rates and QE. I think that's actually bullish, right? So we're going to see SP 500, NASDAQ, gold, silver, Hong Kong stocks, China stocks, all these things hit new all-time high. I don't see why Bitcoin has to stay down. It does make sense to me. So you can say 4-year cycle. I'm still 70% saying that we could probably still make a new all-time high. 30% saying, okay, 4-year cycle is correct. So that's a pretty clear direction without saying anything is 100% or 99%. Okay, thank you for your time, folks. I'll catch you next episode.